Hello, lifers! Welcome to From the Chatroom for August 20th, 2017. I've got, looks like Tixie in the Discord with me.
What's up?
And so far it looks like Techno Beaver is in the, in the Twitch chat.
He's over that way someplace.
Yeah. But we're going to take a little bit of time tonight. I don't expect a terribly long episode to talk a little bit about QuakeCon. And we're going to take a moment to talk about the venue and some of the announcements that they've come out with, some of the news that the folks at QuakeCon have put out, kind of reminisce a little bit about the original BWL road trip way back in 2009. I am not exactly sure of a truly ideal spot to start due to different circumstances, things that maybe they didn't really have control over. I know, among other things, the Hilton Anatole decided to sort of change their focus and make themselves more of a resort hotel and sort of move away from hosting conventions, plus size requirements and a host of other possible variables. QuakeCon is not going to be hosted at the Anatole this year. It's going to be at the Gaylord Texan. They talk about the fact that it will take place August 24th through the 27th. That was apparently a scheduling issue. That's whenever the Texan was available. It is later than normal, and supposedly they'll be switching back next year to a time closer to what everyone's used to. This one's just kind of abnormally late. Honestly, I don't know if it'll make that big of a difference. You know, there was always a lot of talk in the forums about people not being able to attend because of school, or because basically the summer is more or less over, as far as summer vacation goes anyway. But at the same time, there has been just a tremendous amount of interest. The last two from the chat rooms that we recorded were from April, whenever those seats were available for sale, and they sold out. They sold out while I was recording. There is going to be less space available this year. The BYOC is going to be slightly smaller. A lot of that has to do with the fact that they could not book like the full convention space. However, and this is kind of a big point that has been mentioned several times, they have every intention of expanding next year and in future years. Again, like I say, the way they wrote it in this article, it says the Gaylord Texan, which hosted QuakeCon in 2009, is a beautiful 4-star hotel and resort with a spacious convention center that has great growth potential for future events.
Not to mention the name is really easy to make fun of, but we're far above that childish sense of humor.
No, we're not. That was one of the first things that happened. There was a typo on one of the pages calling it the Gaylord, and man, the forums jumped on that. The original Forum Whores meeting happened there in 2004. In fact, they posted on the forums some pictures from 2004 and 2005, and then some of the newer stuff, 2009. There's a few folks, few familiar faces there, especially whenever we look at these. It's kind of interesting because these folks I have known for 9 years now, in many instances, very much look younger than they do now. But it's a very large, very beautiful hotel with a lot of sort of a very interesting, very Texas-centric. I mean, there's a a star in the skylight over the atrium, for goodness sakes. Very much a...
It's apparently very difficult to explain the porch.
Yeah, it is. It is a very large hotel. The Hilton Anatole is a big hotel, and it had a lot of really neat sort of Asian and sort of Far East decorations, a lot of different art from various regions. Very neat. And they've built a water park where their pool used to be, and apparently they also decided to close down the convention center space and build more stuff over there, or at least eventually do that. The byproduct of that, of course, is ACON moved to the Fort Worth Convention Center, and QuakeCon moved back to the Gaylord Texan. But one of the things that always stood out to me is the convention center space always seemed smaller at the Anatole, and the hotel itself seemed smaller, even though it was 20 some odd stories tall. The Gaylord Texan, by comparison, is just massive. It was all felt really spacious and really large. Now, some of that could be first impressions. The only time I've been there was in 2009 with my first time at QuakeCon. So my memories might be a bit tainted toward, the impression that your first time at this event would give you. And I look forward to what they have planned for the next few years, because I could see them really expanding the BYOC considerably. I could see the exhibit hall potentially growing quite a bit. I'm curious to see. I have to, kind of remember back in 2009, there was already a fairly large, fairly impressive BYOC. There was basically a divider wall, and then the exhibit floor with tournament stations at the back for where they were doing the various invitational tournaments. Then there was another, like a divider wall that basically separated the ballrooms. That next room over was where they lined up first come first serve people. Huge room that they used for dodgeball. They had a dodgeball tournament there that year. Then if you walk further down, you got to the main stage area, which was probably quite a bit larger than what they actually needed. There was a lot of space, and they weren't using all of it. There was another convention there using some of the other ballroom space. So there's definitely space for them to grow. The packages they had available this year were the UAC seats, which I didn't even try for. I didn't have the money for it. The QuakeCon Done Quick, which I tried for and could not get. That was the first stream that I did, or recording that I did back in April. It was frustrating. However, I really got frustrated the next week whenever I tried to buy a regular BYOC seat and still failed to get one. Folks like myself didn't have a group. One of the suggestions on the forums had been, well, you have to come prepared. You have to prepare ahead of time. Well, that only works so far whenever you're on your own. And it's not something that is necessarily worth dwelling on, but it did leave me in an odd spot because I try to do videos from QuakeCon. I try to record an It's a Spectacle special, maybe an LPU special, that sort of thing. And obviously now that I've got a stream set up, if the internet will carry streaming, it has in the past, it may or may not this time. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I'm certainly going to try. I was at that time looking at possibly showing up, trying to go to a panel or two, having to stand in line the full duration, and then maybe go up to the hotel room and record like a Lazy Plays special or something like that, and basically just play some game for a couple of hours by myself in the hotel room, and I was not looking forward to where that would end up, and it sort of threw into my plans for next year a little kink, in that I was hoping that I will come up with some extra money to buy some prizes or whatever. I would like to contact the QuakeCon community manager or whoever it is I'm supposed to talk to in regards to setting up a sort of like what I did with the LPU challenge at FadeCon this year, only using It's a Spectacle as the framework. So it would be arena shooters, it would be Quake Live and Quake Champions and that sort of thing. But if I can't get a seat in the BYOC, it might not work out. They had one of their contests fairly recently, and it was a dank memes competition. They created a channel in the QuakeCon Discord and had a contest for who could create the best dank meme. And I won with, let me hide that. I submitted a few, and that was the winner. So I actually do have a BYOC seat. Pretty much everything about this year, including the fact that it's got a smaller BYOC, all of that has been affected by the transition. Additionally, there are some changes within the staffing. I think there's some people have moved on to new jobs, and some people have moved up to new jobs within the QuakeCon team. So there's been a lot of little delays and little kinks iron out. Do remember, if you want to attend, that there are contests available. There are ways to win a free seat in the BYOC. There are ways to buy a seat from somebody who needs to sell theirs. But also remember that QuakeCon still is technically a free event. They have general admission. You don't get a seat in the BYOC, but you do get to go inside, see panels, watch the esports, go through and look in the exhibit hall and participate in the challenges that they have in there. All of that good stuff for free. So it's still something you should think about. It's a fun time, and there's plenty of places to hang out. There's plenty of opportunities to do some really cool stuff. What they show there for the BYOC looks similar to what it was in 2009. You have to remember that this is not necessarily 100% scale. This is a graphic that's meant to represent approximations about where everything will be. Everything's kind of reversed in terms of where the BYOC is, and there's no main stage this year. Apparently, from what they're saying, they're going to use the esports arena and the esports stage for the main stage, which will be kind of interesting to see what they do there. I'm not sure exactly what the setup's going to be. The hotel obviously has had opportunities to change, but the way that it was before, all of these ballrooms and exhibition halls were basically one gigantic chamber with concrete pillars running through it, holding the roof up, and then removable walls that you could use to divide them. So they can expand a lot of this or close it off depending on what they want to do. So they could completely seal off the exhibit hall and esports stage from the BYOC, or they could open that up. I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do with that. So this is from the 2009 BWO road trip. That is the convention center part of this hotel.
I have no earthly idea. Something funny happened this time.
And this parking garage is on the other side. I actually had forgotten about this.
So
walking at this event is going to be a big deal. That was a long hike from the main parking garage through the hotel, through the atrium, through another part of the hotel, and into the convention center. It's a long way to go. I had actually completely forgotten that until I started editing this earlier. This is basically just raw footage. I've just kind of cut together several clips. The camera is pretty shaky. I was using a point shoot camera. Also, the camera gets a little more shaky because I got kind of winded. It was a long walk. This was later that night, just getting some of the decorations. You can kind of see the waterway down below. And of course the gigantic star. I'm going to be somewhere in this region. I can't remember the exact seat. Sort of A2M is going to be in here, and the Forum Whores are going to be in here, and several other clans are going to be in this vicinity. I'm going to be just sort of randomly stuck in the middle. You get to choose from the available seats that remain, and there weren't a whole lot of seats left whenever I got to choose. I'm kind of glad I was able to get at least within a couple of rows of most of the people I know. They have included not only the Network Operations Center, but this UAC VIP Lounge, so apparently they're going to have sort of their own little area to go, rather than going up onto a platform around the knock. Instead, they've got sort of a lounge set up specifically for them. It's going to be one of the perks of spending like $400 and some odd on a ticket. But one thing that stood out to me is the way this is laid out. It mentions the exhibit hall down here at the bottom, and it has Quake Champions, obviously, their logo over here. Well, based on this map, it's actually in the event map sort of turned on its side. This sort of leaves a question in my mind. It says open floor plan will be louder near the exhibition hall and esports arena. Is it going to be open? Or is there going to be a divider wall there? I'm not really sure. But I could see it being either way. This was something that happened largely because of the first come, first serve line. One of the last moments in the BYOC in 2009, for me anyway, was this. There was some manner of power failure, brownout. I was on my laptop, so it stayed on and connected. Everybody else got dropped. Their systems just completely shut off. Everything went dark, and then after a moment, everything lit back up, and everybody's lights started coming back on, but it took a while. I don't know if they ever actually got the network back up. But one of the things you can notice in that video is sort of the amount of space in that area. The hallway, the graphic that they posted doesn't do justice to just how big these rooms are and just how much space there really is. I'm going to bring up the convention video now. So this was the expo hall floor. This video is a quick clip of the main stage area. And one of the first things that came up with the way they did it that year in particular, and I think in previous years, is the lines.
I went through this yesterday. It doesn't end well.
Lines were forming out in the hallway, and I know the hotel didn't like that. But the actual main stage area was gigantic. And of course the finals were happening, and people were going in there to watch all the tournament finals and that sort of thing. The tabletop lineup they were talking about, just briefly look at this item. They were talking about the Settlers of Catan, I guess. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that. Magic the Gathering, of course. Ticket to Ride. The tabletop area has been a popular addition within recent years. I have no idea based on the map where that's going to be. I could see it very much filling in part of that blank space. I could see it being in a different part of the event hall entirely, but it could actually be somewhere else in the hotel for that. All I can do is speculate. If you want real information in that regard, it's time to jump into the QuakeCon Discord and start talking to some of the folks over there, because some of the volunteers are there tonight. They have started setup. Some of the earliest of the volunteers have already started working on this, so they're the ones that are going to give you the best information in that regard. A10 Networks will be doing the internet package, I guess, the LAN structure. I don't know that much about them. I'm not familiar with A10 Networks at all. I'm curious to see just how good or bad the internet's going to be. I know that some of the discussion on the Discord today, they were talking about pretty good Wi-Fi in the bedroom. Our technology team could not be more pleased and excited to work with such a high standard of equipment this year, and we look forward to the performance it will bring to the BYOC. So yeah, it sounds good. I'm curious to see what they're going to do. I want to see what kind of internet we're dealing with, because there's going to be obviously esports live streams from that esports arena throughout the weekend. There's usually any panels or anything like that they might do that would be live streamed. There's going to be BYOC tournaments, quite a few of them, in fact. So there's going to be a Quake 2 20th anniversary duel tournament, Quake World duel tournament, Road Rage tournament, Quake Live 4v4 Capture the Flag tournament. They announced that there's going to be early access for Quake Champions starting soon. It's about to exit the closed beta. They're going to make the Champions Pack available for a discounted price. Personally, I'm probably going to pick that up at some point, just because I'm not going to have the time to unlock everything. Remember, this is supposed to be a free-to-play game, but you have to go through and earn in-game currency to unlock new champions and different upgrades and cosmetics and different things. All of it should be pretty good. My big concern on that one is August 22nd, the start of QuakeCon, everybody's going to be downloading an update to the game. That seems like it. You guys couldn't have dropped it on like Monday? Maybe a little bit earlier. The Dirty Keyboard Contest, 5th annual, is going to be happening and is officially on the schedule this year. They have the rules, obviously, on the forum post. They also have a bunch of the standard sort of activities. There's going to be balls chugging again this year, of course. There's going to be emoji charades. I have no idea what that is. There's going to be something they're calling Hot Seat. Spin a wheel starting at 10 p.m. Saturday to get your in-game event. Complete that event, win a prize. So they're trying to keep people kind of going to the BYOC overnight, Saturday night. Pick your pony. Like watching esports? Be at the stage at the beginning of any match to pick your horse. Watch and see. Maybe you won something. QuakeCon Pajama Party. And then Quake Blind, which is reading the description has me kind of wondering. Think you and your partner have the best communication skills? Here's your chance to prove it. One person has the visuals while the other has the controls. Battling against other pairs to see who gets the most frags. Shoestring cosplay, show and tell, team trivia night, and then of course all the mini games. Basically the mini games IRL stuff that they've been doing for years will also still be in there. QuakeCon challenges trials, or QuakeCon trials are back. They're going to apparently be doing some stuff with Quake, Doom, Prey, Dishonored 2. These are usually set up somewhere in the exhibition hall. And this is a good opportunity for folks who are not terribly familiar or did not get the BYLC seat, that sort of thing. This is something that it's open to any attendee. So that's an opportunity to jump in, play some games, win something. It's worth checking out. Additionally, this year is the first year that they're going to have a cosplay competition. There's been cosplay before. During one of the clips in that video, you probably saw someone dressed as a stormtrooper, that sort of thing. But this year, there is actually going to be a couple of different things. There's a shoestring cosplay. There's going to be actual, like, proper cosplay competition. I already talked about that. And Ventrilo is once again doing the Ultimate Power-Up Sweepstakes. Win $10,000. Well, this is the same thing they've been doing for the last couple of years. There are going to be 100 raffle tickets handed out. And, let's see, 3 $10,000 cash prizes raffled off. So doing different events around QuakeCon, playing in the challenges, going and participating in these different activities. There's just different places that you can pick this up. The more involved you are and the more that you do, the better that your chances of picking up one of these raffle tickets. Alright, I think we've covered most of the news that we had. And we've taken a look at most of these videos already. I think we're kind of coming to the end of this. I think it's about time maybe to switch over for a brief hangout session, maybe 30 minutes or so in GTA 5. I'm going to stop the stream and sort of switch over, and then we'll start back up again in a couple of minutes.